What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, legend, Roy Jones Jr., iconic, Hall of Fame, superstar, turned trainer. Roy Jones, he weighs in on 4-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer, who's currently the reigning undisputed super middleweight, widely considered to be the face of the sport of boxing, top 3 best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, in Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is now 57 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 big wins by way of knockout. He is 31 years of age, 5'8", with a 70-inch arm reach. He took on undefeated WBA light heavyweight world champion Russian superstar boxer DMITRY Bivol, who is now 20 wins, no losses, no draw, 11 wins by way of knockout. He is 31 years of age, 6 feet tall with a 72-inch arm reach. With that said, Canelo Alvarez, he suffered his second defeat in his career. DMITRY Bivol outclassed Canelo Alvarez, dominated the fight against Canelo Alvarez en route to, getting the upset, massive upset victory, okay? He was a 4-1 underdog going into this fight. Canelo Alvarez, he already faced off against Sergey Crusher Kovalev at light heavyweight 175 and became the WBO light heavyweight world champion. So with that said, Roy Jones, he weighs in on the loss, and where should Canelo Alvarez go from here? Now, Roy Jones, he had an illustrious career. Roy Jones was seen as invincible in the 90s, okay? He was Mr. Untouchable. Y'all must have forgot. Roy Jones was playing basketball games, and then full court basketball games as a pro, and then going and having fights that night, okay? Roy Jones, back in March of 1997, he suffered a loss, a DQ to Montel Griffin, okay, in the 9th round, when he had knocked down Montel Griffin and hit Montel Griffin while he was on his knee, and they disqualified Roy Jones, okay, at that point in time, okay? Roy Jones then came back in August of 1997, and he fought Montel Griffin in a rematch. That was his first blemish on his resume, and he absolutely obliterated Montel Griffin in the first round, okay? Then Roy Jones, he went years, okay? When I say years, he went years before he got to 2004, okay? He went up all the way up to heavyweight, became the heavyweight champion, so the only guy in the history of sport of boxing to start his career at 154 and become a heavyweight world champion, okay? The greatest athlete the sport of boxing has ever seen. Then Roy Jones, after he beat John Ruiz back in 2003, March of 2003, he came back down to light heavyweight and he challenged Antonio Tarver, okay, November of 2003. He lost extremely too much weight, and he won a majority decision victory over Antonio Tarver, okay? Very, very close fight. But they had a rematch in April of 2015, and April of 2004, May of 2004, excuse me. And here's where it started to get tricky for Roy. In the second round against Tarver, he got brutally knocked out. Okay, by Antonio Tarver, and that started a downward spiral in Roy Jones' career. Okay, he came back in September 2004, and he was brutally knocked out in the 9th round by Glenn Johnson. Okay, then he came back in October of 2005, and he fought Antonio Tarver again for a third time. He lost a unanimous decision to Tarver, okay? Then he went on a 3-fight winning streak where he beat Prince Batty. He beat Anthony Hanshaw. Then he beat Tito Trinidad, okay? Then he fought Joe Calzaghe, okay, back in 2008. And he lost a unanimous decision. Now, he dropped Joe Calzaghe in the fight, entertaining fight, but he lost a unanimous decision. He got back on track. He fought Omar Shika. He beat him. He beat Jeff Lacey. Then in 2009, he fought Danny Green and was knocked out in the first round. Then he fought Bernard Hopkins. He lost a unanimous decision. Then he fought Denis Lebedev. He got KO'd in the 10th round of that fight. Then he had, he went on a winning streak again. So Roy Jones, the end of his career, he was on a roller coaster, okay? And so he knows a thing or two about taking losses, okay? And again, Roy Jones is the greatest athlete that we ever seen. 66 wins, 9 losses, no draw, 47 wins by way of knockout. 5 times in his career, he was knocked out. So Roy Jones knows a thing or two. He was considered invincible at one point in time. He was the face of pound for pound, okay? He was the modern day age Sugar Ray Robinson, considered to be the pound for pound best fighter in the world, hands down, okay? There was talks of Roy Jones possibly fighting Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield. This is how highly Roy Jones was viewed, okay? And so when he took the loss, it was like letting the air out of a balloon, okay? It was so shocking. It was unbelievable. So Canelo Alvarez recently, now we know in September 2013, Canelo Alvarez, he lost badly to retired legendary iconic Hall of Fame superstar boxer Floyd Mayweather Jr. He lost every single round. But everybody put it in their mind that he was just not ready for Floyd Mayweather, that level, that caliber of a fighter. And everybody loses to Floyd Mayweather. He's 50-0. So everybody, his fan base, the boxing pundits, it was like he didn't even have a loss on his resume. Even Canelo himself stated that he didn't feel like he lost. He felt like it was just a class. It's a learning lesson, okay? He went to school for sure. He lost every single round. But then what's not mentioned here is that 2 fights later, he fights Alfredo Angulo in his next fight after the Floyd Mayweather fight. But then he arguably lost to Erislandy Lara, okay? Another slick boxer where you started to see a pattern here. He struggles with slick boxers, okay? But then he won the fight anyway. He got the nod. And then he got 2 big fights with Gennady Triple G Golovkin. First fight ended in draw. Second fight ended in Canelo Alvarez winning. But then he went on an absolute tear, okay, in which he became an undisputed super middleweight world champion. And he started to be viewed as invincible, okay? The Triple G started to their careers. He went up. His trajectory was going up. And Triple G, at the very best, evened out. If not, started to extremely decline. In my opinion, it declined. And so he was viewed as the face of the sport of boxing, the cash cow, the pay-per-view superstar, and people was looking at him as invincible. He was moving up in weight classes all the way up to 175. He started talking about fighting at cruiserweight, and then he goes up against DMITRY Bivol. And DMITRY Bivol completely outclasses Canelo Alvarez in the same manner that Floyd Mayweather did. Now, Floyd Mayweather won every single round. The DMITRY Bivol didn't win every single round, but he got close, right? I believe he may have squandered maybe 2 or 3 rounds away to Canelo Alvarez, but for the most part, it was a pure domination, outboxing him, outclassing him, okay? And initially, Canelo stated that the better man won. Then he started to tell the world how heart-throbbing it was, how difficult it was to accept, and he started to say he felt like he won the fight, and he only thought that Bivol won 5 rounds at best, okay? So he's changing his tune, and the boxing fans can't accept it. So they're saying that DMITRY Bivol was just too big, okay? He was too big, too strong, where it was actually the skill set, the boxing ability, and the IQ of DMITRY Bivol that won the fight, not his size, okay? And as far as Canelo saying he thought he won the fight clearly and Bivol won 5 rounds at best, he's not being realistic as well, okay? And so with that said, it's a tough pill for Canelo Alvarez to swallow ultimately. And Roy Jones is saying that Canelo Alvarez needs to go back down to 168 or maybe even 160. Have the trilogy that was already set in stone with him and Gennady Golovkin in September. And then possibly take it one day at a time, maybe even retire, okay? Just don't stay too long. So Roy Jones is saying that he just stayed way too long. He went up in weight and came back down, and it affected him gravely, okay? He went all the way up to heavyweight, and he wasn't the same when he came back down. So Roy Jones is saying that Canelo Alvarez may not be the same, packing on all his weight being able to compete with the absolute best fighters there is to offer. He looked very sluggish. He looked like he was fatigued in the second and third round, and he admitted that in the second half of the fight, it was hard for him to pick it up because he was tired. Okay, and a lot to do with the mental and physical pressure that DMITRY Bivol was putting on him. Kept spinning him, turning him, outboxing him, changing levels. Changing the speed of his punches, changing the combinations up. He completely mentally exhausted Canelo Alvarez in the ring. And Canelo Alvarez admitted that, okay? But again, in the second, third round, he already looked fatigued, okay? He looked tired. And, maybe it's the fluctuation of weight. I was on record, and I'm on record saying that I don't like the idea of him going to 175, even if he beat Bivol, to come back down to 68 to fight Triple G, to go back up to 75 to look to become undisputed. The seesaw with his body is going to, eventually affect him, okay? And it may have already started to take toll on his body. So what Roy Jones is saying, that may have already be the case. So it might be best for him at this stage in his career to fight Triple G in the trilogy, which I believe after Triple G's performance against Murata, I think Canelo Alvarez, even that version Canelo Alvarez, stops Triple G, okay? Now, when you have trilogies and fight of this magnitudes and, they've been in the ring so many times, Triple G may have a last gas fight. Styles clash, styles make fights. So, but I think that Canelo Alvarez stops Triple G. So Roy Jones is saying fight Triple G in September. Maybe it's time to step away, but take it from there. Get to the Triple G fight, and then take it from there. Okay. Triple G is somebody he's familiar with. Fight somebody you're familiar with in Triple G, and then see how you feel. And then if you want to fight the David Benavidez, Jamal Charles of the world, rematch with DMITRY Bivol, then you take it from there. And I agree with Roy Jones. I think that that's the perfect strategy for Canelo Alvarez, okay, to get back in the win column. I think that he dominates Triple G and stops him, take it from there. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button, drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like your shitty videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.